Just set off this morning from Pisco. I'm just past the town called Ica, and something just snapped, and I think I've got a problem with my chain. Oh, the chain has just snapped off. Currently, I have no idea what to do.
I left Loja, crossed the border into Peru, and it was a good 6 to 7 hour ride for the coastal surf town of Mancora.
This is the view from the top of my hotel. Impressive, eh? I'm sure this will look fantastic when it's finished. But, you know, we've got a pool down there. Not that I trust the water to be clean enough, so I won't be going in there. So that's my hotel over there. This is a block from the hotel. So some work to be done, really. Lovely evening. La palabra de Dios ya está dicha, tú no tienes excusa cuando estés delante de Dios, cuando venga el juicio de Dios no tienes excusa, porque la palabra de Dios está dicha. Si quieres saber más de esta palabra poderosa, te invitamos a... Christmas in Colombia, New Year in Ecuador, and now it's the 9th of this January, and I'm in Peru, in a little town called Mancora, which is a surf town, touristy.
After a couple of relaxing days by the beach, it was time to hit the road. I headed south, had an overnight stay in Piura before making for Chiclayo. The next day saw me hit the road from Chiclayo for a 3.5 hour ride down south to Trujillo.
The square in Trujillo, which is plaza, which is really nice, which is more that can be said of my hostel, but still, it's only for one night.
Trujillo is the third largest city in Peru after Lima and Arequipa. Apparently it also has a reputation for being one of the most dangerous cities in the country. Personally, I find it very pleasant, although I only stayed one night. It was a 9-hour ride to Lima from Trujillo, so I decided to break up the journey with a one-night stay in a little town of Barranca. As I approached the outskirts of Lima, I was flagged down by the Peruvian police. Apparently I'd committed a traffic violation, which is of course total rubbish because I wasn't speeding at all. He just kept saying infracción, infracción, 45, pointing at my speedo saying I was going faster than 45 kilometers an hour. He then said 100 nuevos soles, in other words 22 quid fine. And I had no choice, he had my passport and papers. But he wasn't keen on being filmed though. So having been fleeced of £22, I was still annoyed about it when about 20 minutes later I was pulled again. He'd obviously radioed ahead and said, watch out for a gringo on a motorbike, it's easy pickings. Here we go again, same old story. Infracción, infracción, 45. This time I said, no es posible. It's not possible. I wasn't speeding. I was going the same speed as all the other traffic. But he wasn't having it. Necesitas pagar. You need to pay. And this time, 150 soles he was trying to charge me. But this time I wasn't having it. No es posible, no tengo mucho dinero. I was pleading poverty by this stage, so he went to consult with his friend. He came back and said, "Cuánto tienes? Okay, how much have you got?" And I just shuffled around in my pockets and pulled out a couple of notes, which ended up to be something like £12. So reluctantly I gave it to him and thought, because it was the only way I could get back my driving licence and passport.
Something going on down here. There's a comedy troupe used before, the police won't let them. So now they're at a standoff. I've no idea why, but it's fascinating watching the body language.
Señores, muy buenas tardes. Quiero expresarme, disculpe que no lo hice hace rato. Muy buenas tardes, gente de Miraflores, gente hospitalaria.
I don't know what that's all about, but having made my way to Lima, despite my run-ins with the police, I found my way into Miraflores, eventually found a garage, I found a hotel, and now I'm about to go and find a beer. Flores down by the waterfront, a bit different from the shanty towns I rode through to get here, but quite a nice view from up here. I'm not going to bother walking down to the beach, it's pretty much all pebbly, like Brighton, with sunshine. When you're desperate for a Wi-Fi spot, there's one place you can always rely on. Your friendly neighbourhood. Stop. Good morning, and I'm trying to locate some tyres for my bike at this place. Mordachi Motors. I'm early, they don't open until 9:30. If I can get some tyres from here, then I'm going to take it to the BMW garage and hopefully get them fixed there, and maybe get a tuned chain and sprockets if all goes well. So that's the plan. Let's hope it comes together.
So the plan was to buy some new tyres, take it to the BMW garage, get them to fit the tyres and change the chain and sprocket. All being well.
So I managed to pick up 2 tyres this morning and brought them to the BMW garage, and they also had a chain and sprocket set which they're currently working on right now. That's the bike, and I think your man over there is doing a sprocket. New tyre on the back, so within kind of, I don't know, half an hour or so should be ready to go.
The next day I headed down the coast to the little town of Pisco, most famous for being the home of the national drink of Peru, the Pisco Sour.
Pisco, which I'm sure will be nice when it's finished, and it's really mad hot here. Doing some major...
Pisco is a small city of just over 100,000. It originally prospered because of its nearby vineyards and became noted for its grape brandy or pisco, which is exported from its port.
The main plaza. They just don't seem to finish building anything. Just put the brickwork up and that's about it. Maybe they run out of money. Peru seems to have a casino. They must love the gambling, even though it's not quite finished. It's finished enough to start taking money from people, I guess.
From Pisco, I set off south on a 3.5-hour ride to the fascinating little town of Nazca with its world-famous Nazca lines. So I just set off from Pisco. I had new tyres, new chain, new sprocket. Everything was going smoothly until I passed through a little town of Ica.
Just set off this morning from Pisco. I'm just past a town called Ica, and something just snapped, and I think I've got a problem with my chain. It's not looking too good at the moment, and I've no idea what it is. Maybe it's broken. A brand new chain. So pretty much stuck here at the moment. I'll have to take it off and have a look and identify what the problem is. This part here of the chain is just snapped off, and that's the part I want, which means that I can't adjust the chain. It's too slack. I need that part, and currently I have no idea what to do.
While I was scratching my head and trying to figure out what to do, I noticed there was a tuk-tuk driver watching me from the side of the road. So I asked him if he knew if there was a mechanic anywhere. He nodded and asked me to follow him back to the little town of Ica.
The tuk-tuk drivers brought me to a Honda dealer to see whether they've got a part, but it obviously won't be the same. Maybe we could cobble something together, but there's no way I can ride any distance on that. So that's all part of the journey, isn't it? And this is a nice tuk-tuk driver who's helping me. Gracias.
Sadly, the Honda garage couldn't help me because I needed a specific part, a BMW part, I thought. So the tuk-tuk driver eventually took me to a workshop in a back street where these two gentlemen insisted they could actually make one for me that afternoon.
I left my bike with a man who said you can fix it or make a part. He's actually making a part. I hope you got it fits. In the meantime, my tuk-tuk driver is ¿Cómo se llama? ¿Cómo se llama? ¿Qué nombre? Alonso. Alonso, my mate, my amigo, he's taken me to a hotel. He said he's got internet. Oh my god, I'm sweating like a... I'm just sweating a lot. Video. Jose and his partner. Luis. They have been working for 3 hours and they fixed my bike and they put they fashioned out of stronger metal an end clamp to the chain tensioner, although I'm still not convinced about the chains in it as good as the other one. But and it means tomorrow I'm back on the road. Muchas gracias por su ayuda.
Gracias.
Still concerned about my chain, I found a local mechanic to take a look and discovered a shocking mistake.
Just taken the front cover from the front sprocket off, and you wouldn't believe this, but there's no nut. There should be a huge nut on that. So the BMW guys in Lima didn't put it back on. That's unbelievable. That's outrageous. No wonder they got a problem with the chain. That's crazy. And that's a huge nut.
This oversight from the Lima BMW mechanics was potentially extremely dangerous.
So he's put the nut on the front, he's fixed that there, and now he's checking the rear sprocket, and he said that the mechanics in Lima did a really bad job on this. Something not quite right.
Mira cómo lo instalabas. Como así se
Can he fix it? Can he fix it? See?
¿Puedes reparar con eso?
BMW.
Yes, he can.
Buen mecánico.
Confident that my chain was now fixed, I headed back on the road to Nazca.
Just arrived in Nazca about half an hour ago. Checked into my hostel, and as with the last couple of places I've been to, you've actually got to request a toilet seat, which I've just asked them to fix because I just prefer it that way. And this is the view overlooking the central square of Nazca, famous for the Nazca lines, of course. It's very humid, very cloudy, very sticky, really hot today, and my back is aching as well. But that looks like a nice little restaurant. I might pop there for lunch. Looks like I've arrived in time for yet another festival of some kind, and as you can probably hear in the background, in the plaza, it's all happening tonight. Something.
The Nazca lines have baffled mankind for quite a long time, and the mystery is even more intriguing. There are a series of enormous geoglyphs etched into roughly 200 square mile stretch of the desert, and they were created by pre-Inca people somewhere between the 4th century BC and the 10th century AD, and nobody knows how they did it because they can only be seen properly from the air. My next major destination was going to be the city of Arequipa, but since that was a good 9-hour ride, I decided to stay overnight in the little town of Camaña, a mere 6 hours away.
So I'm in the town of Camana, looking for something to eat, and this looks like a likely spot, because tonight they've got a bikini contest on. Well, be a shame not to, wouldn't it? And it's somewhere to eat, so let's try it. When you ask for breakfast and you want café con leche, this is what you get. Get some hot milk there. Gracias. A whole tin of Nescafe, you just put it in. Perfect.
Having done the hard miles the day before, it was a mere 3.5 hour hop to Arequipa, but nonetheless, it was hard, tiring work.
Just stopped for a break on the road to Arequipa. Oh, I've been riding for hours and hours across the desert roads. Sand dunes on one side. Beautiful, calm Pacific Ocean on the other side. And that's it, pretty much. That's it for miles and miles. another 30 miles to go to my next destination. I arrived in the historical centre of Arequipa this morning. Just had a look around, so I'm now in the main plaza. It's a really beautiful place.
Arequipa is a colonial era capital framed by 3 volcanoes and filled with Baroque buildings. It is, however, located on the tectonic fracture of the Earth's crust called the Ring of Fire, and known for its high frequency of volcanic eruptions and earthquakes.
But this is really nice at night. Oh, and he's the happy couple.
It's practically completely built out of sillar, a type of white volcanic stone, which is why Arequipa is actually called the White City, La Ciudad Blanca. The historic centre of Arequipa was named a UNESCO World Heritage Site in the year 2000.
This is the central plaza in Arequipa at night. Now, there seems to be an awful lot of police presence here tonight. I don't know what's going on, but let's see if we can find out. Maybe it's a recruitment drive.
Ya terminó todo el movimiento. El señor director general está ingresando a la Plaza de Armas.
This is all the police.
El jefe de informaciones, el personal que pertenece a informaciones, tener la amabilidad de invitar a los señores, a las autoridades que han sido invitadas y convocadas.
This is the monastery of Santa Catalina.
The monastery was built in 1579 and was expanded over the centuries, and it's still functioning as a place of worship. At its peak, it housed about 450 nuns and their servants, and was closed off from the city by high walls. Its doors remained closed to the outside world until 1970. It was actually a miniature city within a city, with its own streets, alleys and squares.
Muy bonita. ¿Es usted? ¿Su carro? Bus tour of the city, and since I'm the only English speaking person on the bus, I get a translation all to myself, which is nice. Other than that, I've not a lot of clue what's going on. The alpaca form. Smells very much like alpaca. found my beer and a nice restaurant, and here we are. And it's called Las Tejas. I've ordered my fish, and I'm studying the map from south of Peru to Santiago in Chile, and it's a long way, but still gotta start somewhere, so I might as well start with the beer.